Hey guys, welcome back to the Dad Approach podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the philosophy of time, how we manage time, and just really how everything about time has changed since we had kids. So let's get into it. All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do this. Hey guys, I'm Britton Holman, joined by my co-host Stephen Hosh, and before we jump into our podcast, as normal, we like to talk about how things have been going. It's been about 3 weeks since our last recording, so Steve, how's been your 3 weeks?
They've been pretty eventful, actually. As most people know, as parents, each week comes a different either challenge or something new. So I've had a couple things, or my wife and I have had a couple things that kind of cropped up over the past 2 or 3 weeks. One of them being that we're really excited that our daughter she just well, okay, if you want to be technical, she hits 4 months on the 5th of March. But from like an actual like week standard, she's over 16 weeks old. So technically that's 4 months. So she is like, yesterday, I was actually just going to tell you earlier before we started recording all that stuff, but she started, I was like yesterday or the day before that, she started like rolling back and forth now, or she's at least like continuously rolling now. So I mentioned it in the previous podcast, I believe, where she like had just done it for the first time, like just flipped from back to
Yeah.
front or on her stomach or whatever, vice versa. And so, now like yesterday, the day before that, she just decided that she would do like barrel rolls out of nowhere. And
Oh.
so I feel like it's like one of those things is like you hit certain benchmarks, like you
Mm-hmm.
can't really predict unless you're like actively trying to train your child and like you're doing tummy time and certain things like that. You're like actively trying to get them to do something. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to predict like the first time they decide to say a word or they do a full roll or whatever it is. And so for a little bit there, she decided that she would do that like while one of us wasn't watching. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
like I would literally be like making like breakfast or something. I kind of peek around the corner to see if, how she's playing and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
she would already be on her stomach. Like she'd start on her back and then she'd be on her stomach. And I'm like, like, dude, you keep doing it when I'm not watching. It's pissing me off. Uh, so she finally kind of just did it in front of me and my wife yesterday, and
Oh,
she
nice.
kind of continuously does it now. So we're really excited
Mm-hmm.
to see her, learning new skills and doing them, and you kind of see that progression. It made me like super emotional just because
Yeah.
I think it's not really like a sad. It's like you're just like a happy emotional because you're so proud of your child for learning new skills, and like you see them learning it and practicing it, and then they're finally able to do it. It's like such a like,
Mm-hmm.
proud like parent moment, I feel like.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of caught myself like just like getting super emotional. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that's the part of it is like the dad effect, or
Yeah.
the daughter, sort of effect as far as like making you a little bit more emotional in
Mm-hmm.
general when she like does stuff. So yeah, along with rolling
Mm-hmm.
onto her stomach from her back and stuff like that. We also started some sleep training mostly
Mm-hmm.
this week. Uh, there was a couple different methods. I knew you did the moms on call method.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I decided, or well, not I decided, but we decided that we were kind of trying to like a hybrid approach. It was a little bit, it's one of those things where you look on the internet a little bit, or you just kind of look around and you're trying to figure out, what's the best method or what would you like to do?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that you don't feel like you want to do? And my wife was pretty adamant about not letting our child cry it out because she actually sent me something yesterday or the day
Mm-hmm.
before, which kind of, not justified our decision, but what's the word I'm looking for? Not redeem, not justified, but like we made a decision, and
Yeah.
had we made the other decision, it would have been a bad decision. So not that we know that we made the right decision. Whoever's
Yeah.
out there, tell me what the word is.
Reaffirmed.
Sure, yeah, we'll go with that. Someone else out there knows the word I'm looking for. Um, but yeah, so I kind of started the week with the
Mhm.
cry, not like full on cried out, but it was going to be more the moms on call approach where
Yeah.
you start out at like a few minutes, like the 3 minute mark, and then
Hmm.
if she's still crying, then you go in there, soothe her, and then she calms down, you step out, and then next is kind of like a 5 minute mark, and then you just kind of rinse
Mm-hmm.
and repeat, and you get to 7, and then you can go to 10, but Ange was kind of like, just stop at 7 and cap it at 7. I don't want you doing it at 10 minutes. So I kind
Mm-hmm.
of started the week that way, and and then I did that for like a day. It didn't really seem to be like, at least it was the first day. It's one of those things where whenever you're
Yeah.
trying something
First day.
new,
First day is always rough.
yeah, I mean, first few days, right? Like it's like
Mm-hmm.
whenever you're teaching your child something new or you're training
Yeah.
them for something, I mean, they always tell you to expect the first few days to be pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the biggest thing is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, yeah, so we that didn't work. So then we switched to another method, and I fluctuated between a couple and it didn't work. And then Wednesday, my wife was like, "Let's just do the pick up put down." So we switched to that, tried that out, and I've been today will be day 3, and it seems like it's been working really well. And
Awesome.
yeah, so I mean, it so far she's been really good, and we're happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna kind of keep doing that and
Yeah.
keep working with it. So
Yeah. I know sometimes I think we approach sleep training or not like we should, I guess. I don't like the word should, but it can be very helpful to approach sleep training as a it's almost like trying to find like the perfect dosage of medication for whatever you're working with. It's like you try one dose, if it doesn't work, try a different dose, it doesn't work, but once you find that right dose, like it's like yes, stick with it. And so it
yeah,
sounds like that for you guys. You guys just kind of finally found like that right amount for
I just remember the word. I
this.
think vindication. I think vindicated was the word.
Okay,
I just
vindicated.
randomly
Nice.
you were talking about it, and then for some reason that brought it to the forefront of my mind. But we
Hmm.
felt vindicated in our decision because we were doing cry out at first, and then my wife
Yeah.
sent me
So
something.
yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
to
You
be
fit.
to be clear, like cry it out is like when you just let them cry and you
Mm.
don't do anything.
Yeah, you pretty much you set them
For
down and you leave
you're
them
gone.
basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that's when they start crying with distress, and that's what a lot of data is kind of iffy on
Yeah,
for
which is
sure.
exactly the point that I was trying to make is that my wife had sent
Mhm.
me something. I don't really want to. I didn't really like fact check it fully, but there had been like a bunch of studies apparently that a bunch of uh, doctors or whatever. I kind of want to find her message real quick. I don't
Mhm.
have to read the whole thing, but she sent me this thing that basically said apparently it was in Denmark that says that they're officially moving away from the cry out method after a nationwide study revealed it was still being taught in most I cannot say the municipal municipal municipality. I can't say that word. Holy moly. It is too early for me trying to say words like that. More than 700 psychologists signed a unified statement urging immediate discontinuation of the practice. So I'm not sure exactly if that how legit this is, but she sent me something. It was like a little baby article about it. Um,
Yeah. The main
and
thing,
yeah, I bet it makes sense,
yeah,
man. Like it
for
really
sure,
does.
for sure.
It is really like it does put your child in a lot of distress. It puts the parents in an uneasy spot and then a sort of distress as well when you hear your child like
Hmm.
because they're
Yeah.
pretty much guaranteed to escalate to a point where it's like as a parent, especially with younger kids, like like the difference between like your child
Hmm.
being fussy and kind of crying because they need something versus like I'm scared, I'm in distress, I'm kind of
Yeah.
panicking cry, right?
Yes,
So
for sure.
there's a pretty big
Yeah,
difference there.
for sure. What is it?
I'm not sure exactly. I don't know. She sent me. She's probably scrolling something. I'm pretty sure it sent it to me. So who knows how
Yeah.
valid it is? But I
Well, so
honestly,
well,
even if
I
it's not
found
super
I
legit.
I found what you're reading. I was looking for the original study. Like
Oh
I I wanted to look. I always like to look at the stats. But
yeah, no.
anyway,
I mean,
we can do that a different time.
I was gonna dig into it a little bit, but I was lazy and didn't do it. But
Hmm.
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah,
But it
and
makes sense. It
for
just
sure,
makes sense.
absolutely. Like, and I think like that's like the hardest thing is that like there is the cry because they're sad or they got hurt or whatever, right? And then there's like the cry that's like, oh, please pick me up. This is annoying,
Yeah,
And then there's the cry like, hey, I'm in distress. Please help me,
yeah.
right?
There's a
And
very clear
that's
difference.
yeah, and it's funny because it's like, it's like I think of before I was a parent, and was never a thought. It's like there's a difference in cry. Like, yeah, like I hear that you kind of are reacting differently, but what? Then as a parent, you're like, oh yeah, there is very clear, distinct differences in cries. And it's
Yeah,
like,
you recognize that like early on. You're like, oh,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And it's so funny. Like I think of so many times when I will hear like Cece wake up in the middle of the night, and
Mm,
then I can tell within the first like second, if not less, that like, oh, this is a cry I can mostly ignore,
yeah.
right? And then there's the cry of like, get me now,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
exactly. Which is kind of one of the things with the pick up put down method that we are doing, that you do have to kind of like understand the difference, because a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of fussing crying is okay, especially once
Yeah.
they're training them to be in the crib, and you want them like that's okay because they're still kind of like just being comfortable with being in the crib, and they might settle themselves down with a little bit of fussy crying. But once they
Mm-hmm.
escalate to the like, hey, please like help me or whatever, then
Yeah.
that's when you take them out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I know we went off track a little bit with that, but like,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that so far has been working great for us. I know my wife's happy
Good.
about it because she feels more comfortable with that method. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, so that was the second thing. Also
Mm-hmm.
last week now, since we're on a 2 to 3 week, my wife went back to work, so I'm now
Mm-hmm.
like officially a full stay at home dad full
Yeah.
time.
Woo!
So yeah,
Gotta
yeah. So
clap.
I joined the club fully.
Love
So
it.
that's been fun. It's been interesting for sure. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like there's been days where it's like literally my wife is in meetings and she's busy and there's really not much time for her to like other than lunch, her lunch
Mm-hmm.
because she has lunch from noon to 1, and then that so that she has some time to like either give me a break so I can eat and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, so there's days where she isn't able to do that. But fortunately,
Mm-hmm.
she does work from home right now. She does have to go into the office starting next week. So was that March
Mm-hmm.
1st is Monday, or I could be off on my days,
Mm-hmm.
um, the second or whatever. But yeah, she starts going back to work this week. But it's only 2 days a week, and it's for a half day, so it's not like full time. She's not going in,
Yeah.
9 to 5 every single day. But yeah, so that's been interesting, kind of navigating that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of like a creature of habit, so a lot of things work out for me because then I can kind of just get in my, what the kids these days would call flow state. I'm in my flow state most of the time. I just
Flow
kind of,
state. So I'm
but the
laughing.
sleep.
I'm laughing because that is literally a psychological state. Like that is a thing
No,
that
dude,
is
that's what the kids.
determined within
I'm
like
in my flow
significant amount
state,
of
dude.
research.
Dude, no, that's one thing too. You keep watching anybody that tunes in for this podcast or listening, watching, whatever. Uh, my goal is to keep up on all of like the latest like slang and like understand what all the
It's
kids are saying.
it's not a slang word.
Not
It's an
flow state,
actual.
it's not necessarily flow state, but like
Sorry.
like there's a bunch of different things that kids are saying that I just think is hilarious.
Oh
And
yeah.
my buddy Rob and I, we are like, he works with younger people, so he kind of like they kind of keep him informed that way. And I just like told myself as I get older and have kids and stuff like that, I didn't want to be like the parent that's just like so out of the loop that has no
Yeah.
idea. So it's
Dude,
just funny
just don't
like
be saying
learning.
like things like cap and all those other
Oh
ones
no,
like
I'm gonna throw them in there. I'm gonna throw them in
the
there.
Gen Alpha language.
I'm gonna call them
Love
people
it.
chuds,
Oh
all
no.
that stuff. I'm gonna be like, you
Oh
have so much
no.
aura. I'm in a flow state. 6'7" was a good one. Me and my buddy 6'7".
Oh
That was
no,
pretty
please,
great.
no success.
Dude. Oh man, it's so funny.
Oh.
It's more of like a mockery. It's just funny
Mm-hmm.
because
It's
I kind
fair.
of I know we're kind of going off on a side tangent, but it's like one of those things when we were younger where
Mm-hmm.
we were saying things that I'm sure our parents, mom, we know our mothers are watching this. You can tell us if this is right, but I'm sure there was things that we were saying when we were younger that they
Mm-hmm.
probably were like, that's stupid. Like, that just sounds so stupid. Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? So I just think it's funny that now that's our turn to kind of experience that. And I think it's
Yeah.
hilarious. I think it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
I like to embarrass the hell out of my niece. She thinks I'm so embarrassing because I'll just be like 6'7", 6'7". She's
Oh
like, we're done with
no.
6'7", and I'm like, until someone comes up with something cooler, I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Oh
That's why I told you.
no.
I even texted you. I was like, that's diabolical. That was another one,
Mm-hmm.
diabolical. That was one,
Mm-hmm.
and then. But
Oh
anyways,
goodness.
so yeah, I'm officially full time, stay at home,
Mm-hmm.
and then I guess the The last thing I know, I have a long list. I apologize. This is a long introduction for everybody. You could skip past to the actual
Don't worry.
conversation. I
I'm
apologize.
gonna timestamp it so they can just be like, "Oh, Steve, I don't care."
Yeah, they're like, oh, yeah, just timestamp me specifically.
There you go.
But yeah,
Steve's rant, 20
yeah,
minutes. No.
yeah, Steve's introduction. But yeah, so and then also our wiener dog Glizzy,
Hmm.
she had her bladder stone surgery Friday, so it's been a week. It's already been a week, so she's doing much better. She's got to get her staples taken out next Friday. But yeah, that was. I mean, we talked about it obviously off air here, but
Yeah.
that was expensive and it was scary for a moment because our other dog Luck, she passed away last year, and so it was like one of those scary moments that like
Hmm.
the surgery took a while. I told you obviously about this behind the scenes, but like it took a while, so it really scared us. And luckily,
Hmm.
she's okay. Cost kind of an arm and a leg, but she's good now. She's
Hmm.
healing up, and yeah, so a pretty eventful introduction for myself. But then again, it was like 2 or 3 weeks, so
Yeah.
stuff happens. So, anyways, I know
Hmm.
I've been ranting for way too long. I'm gonna pass it back to you. What's been going on with you, my friend?
Yeah. So, probably the first thing, which I'm surprised you didn't mention, was Seahawks won. The Seahawks
I
won the
it's
Super
been
Bowl.
it's been like three
It's been
weeks.
3 weeks, but we last time we recorded, I was wearing Seahawks jerseys the day before the Super Bowl. We have to close that chapter.
Yeah, we got to
Seahawks
cap that
won.
conversation off. Yeah, no.
Boom. So anyway,
Yes.
I just had to say that really fast. But no, the really two big things have been going on. Really, just the first one was I started to do my garage renovation project. Just because this office space is the same as our
Plug
guest
your
room.
solo YouTube as well. Don't
I
forget
know.
that.
I know, right? So yeah, so this office space is kind of like a temporary space because it's mostly out of frame, but we have like our bed right here, so it's like a guest room and also my office is it's also where I do my clinical work. And so it's great and all, but the biggest problem is that because of its dual purpose nature, like when we do have guests and when we do have company, like this is where everything is. So like usually what I'd have to do is take my laptop out to the garage, and then whatever the temperature is out there, it doesn't really matter. Could be like 50 degrees, could be like 100 degrees out there. And would just have to do my client care out there and just suffer the elements. And
Yeah.
so I'm basically doing a full garage remodel. And so
They're just
I
talking to you, just like so, just they're like, "Are you
Oh
okay?" And you're
yeah,
just like,
it's like
"I'm
I'm good,
fine."
man. I promise I'm not having a heart attack. I'm good. But I'm like just drinking water, pouring
Just
water
have a
over my
towel.
head.
Yeah, you just have like a towel
Yeah,
on your head to like absorb some of
exactly.
the liquid.
But yeah, so I'm doing that project. I am doing it on YouTube. It's the one thing that is kind of a bummer is that we're doing it slowly, so I can't like release a video every single week with it. I'd love to, but that's just not really possible. So
Mhm.
the first video is actually on my personal YouTube channel, Stay at Home Dad Saidi, and you can take a look at that. Probably the more fun and also not fun news is last week, Cece finally popped her first tooth. We were super excited. She was getting all like the symptoms, having like a runny nose and like, doing all the things. And she's been having that for months, but like she just hadn't popped her tooth. But finally it's happened. Um,
She's
the
probably
bad
drooling a
thing
lot too,
is,
right? Because usually what comes with teeth is like a lot of
oh
drool
yeah,
and all that good stuff.
drooling, everything. And so what ended up happening, she also got sick roughly around the same time. So she was having
Ooh.
symptoms that were very similar to that of teething, that we just kind of contributed to teething. But then those symptoms ended up getting worse. She ended up getting like discharge from her eyes and her nose
Mm.
simultaneously. She looked very sad and was acting very sad. She's usually a very happy, non-fussy baby, but she's been like way more clingy than normal, which again makes sense. She's not feeling good. We ended up having, or we called the nurse hotline 2 days ago. They said like, yeah, like if you can't get her in the clinic right away, you need to get her in somewhere.
Mm.
Which was basically where we live. The only option was the emergency department. So thankfully, we have very good insurance, and so when we could not get her into clinic, it just nothing seemed possible. And we also didn't know, like, does she have an ongoing infection? Does she need antibiotics right away? We weren't really
Yeah.
sure. So we were able to take her into the emergency department. I was able to pretty much walk right in. There was no line, there was no wait. It was actually amazing. Um, and so we did all of that. Thankfully, no infection or no like significant viral agent that they can tell. I guess some newer research shows that ear infections, out of 10 kids, it actually clears up on its own. So we got antibiotics, but they said to wait like 2 or 3 days to see how
Mm.
it progresses. If it doesn't get better or gets a little worse, to start giving it to her. If it gets a lot worse, obviously go back to the ED. But and by the way, I say ED. I know a lot of people call it ER. It depends on the system. I worked in EDs, emergency departments. So sorry if I switched
Yeah,
those
you said
languages
ED and
up.
and I'm in the conversation and I didn't even know what you're talking about.
I
I was like,
I know.
whatever.
Sorry. But yeah, so that is the main piece there. And so yeah, she's on meds. She's not sleeping as well as she normally does, I guess. And also I'm starting to get a little bit sick.
Mm.
So like Amanda had me take some sleep med, or not some sleep meds, some flu meds last night, but it also had like the sleep element to it, and that just knocks me out. So I'm totally in like a medication hangover right now.
Mm.
And so
Hey, I will say you
um
sound better from even when we started. You were like, obviously you sounded like,
a
for
little
those of
more
you out there,
congested.
we're in a time that I'm on the West Coast, he's in Central Time, so he's a couple hours ahead of me. So I
Hmm.
had to wake up today at 5:30 a.m.
You did.
to try to. We started a little bit after 6, almost 6:30 is when we actually started.
Hmm.
So I got up super early. For him, he was like, "Hell yeah, I'm excited! It's gonna be like 8 a.m. for me. I'm gonna be having my coffee and all this stuff."
Yeah.
So
And then I'm like dead inside, and he's like, "Yeah, let's go."
yeah, so for him, for it to be like 8 a.m. for him, and he's like,
Yeah. And
I could
normally
tell you
I'm
obviously were a little, you were congested and all
yeah.
that stuff.
And normally I'm up by like 6:30 every single day. So,
I'm
it's
definitely not. Well,
yeah.
actually, I can't even say that anymore because I think I heard my daughter just wake up.
Yeah.
So I mean, I mean, she's up at like 7, like 7:30 at the
Yep.
latest. Sometimes she's up
Yep.
at 6, 7. Huh? Got him. Dad jokes abundant. But
Anyway,
yeah.
um, so with that, it's a beautiful segue. Not the 6-7 that can just be tossed,
No.
but it's a beautiful segue into our main topic: is how do we manage time with, and really our view of time, our philosophy of time with our kids, and how does that even work? I don't know. My mind's like going to this like space, like man, like her being sick has like changed everything.
Right.
Like the like having like usually she can play on her own a little bit. She can do a lot of different little things, but now she's very clingy right now, and so like what we would normally have scheduled to do is just it's just not happening. And
Right.
like it's gonna be interesting because like this weekend we had plans for just we are starting to this month we're going to try to meal prep all of our meals on Sundays and then go from there. But if she's like super sick, like it's going to be much harder to do it because her naps have like shortened because she wakes up a lot now. So it's just a lot of interesting stuff. So
I mean, you might have to just make it like one of you. I mean,
yeah.
it might have to be a one-man show for prepping the food this
Yeah.
week instead of a two-man show. So
Exactly. And so, but it's just funny like how things change, but also we're like, yep, that's just the way it is, and it's like
you realize how sensitive your like. I guess I don't. I want to. I guess I could just say like your schedule or whatever it is. Like you get. I feel like you get in a flow state. You know. I'm sorry. I keep wanting to like throw stuff in there.
uh
You get like in this like I'm saying flow, but like you kind
oh
of get
yeah.
into this groove of like what you kind of do every day. And because I mean, when you have younger kids, like it really, I mean, I'm assuming also as you get into like toddler phase and all that stuff, like it really
Hmm.
is just kind of having a schedule and consistency.
Yeah.
And so when something like an illness or something like that, it's crazy how sensitive that schedule becomes and how easy it is to disrupt as soon as
Hmm.
your kid is sick or something's going on, and it just throws everything out of whack. And it's like it is crazy how much like you kind of again how easy it is to kind of sort of disrupt that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it can really
So,
throw you off.
yeah, so I want to think about or like maybe talk about like before I had a kid, like,
Yeah.
and even before I was married, right? Like, I think of, the different aspects of like how time was for me, and like this idea that, oh, I don't have time, right? That, so
Yeah.
it is funny, and I'm pretty sure if any of my siblings are watching this, they're like, it's about time,
Yeah.
because I would say like, yeah, I just don't really have time to do that right now, and they'd look at me and like, really, and so because they had kids much younger than I did, and
Yeah.
so the thing that I think about is like my view of time was like, oh, well, like time just moves really fast when you're having fun, like barely have time to do much. And so it's like I never really had to slot stuff in. Obviously, when I was in grad school, it's a little bit different. I was pretty
I
busy,
mean,
but
to be fair, you were legitimately like you were learning to become a psychologist, so like that
yeah,
that was
for
a
sure,
lot of years of school, man. I
for
just
sure.
a long time.
For sure. I mean, total years I think is 9, but
Yeah.
no
So I mean
no one's
that's pretty
counting.
valid, but yes, like if you're doing a
Yes.
comparison, which you technically are right now, to having children and what that looks like versus going to
Mm,
college, like yeah, obviously there's very
yeah.
clear differences.
There is, and so, and I think of like all the people that were in college that had kids. I'm like, oh my gosh, like how did you like
Yeah, I can imagine.
you realize that like you just find little slots. Like I think of all of the time that I spent before kids, that time would just be wasted, right? Like 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 30 minutes here. But like when you have a kid, you take advantage of every millisecond of your time. And so I feel like my like philosophy of time has just changed to where it's not it went from like, yeah, make good use of your time to like take advantage of every second that you have. And it is funny because like I thought I had that philosophy. I didn't, right? Now that I have like a kiddo and I actually have some of that space, I don't. And then eventually, like, or I guess we could even talk about now, then it goes to like, well, how do you balance that free time that you have? What do you
Mhm.
spend it on? Do you spend it on chores? Do you spend it on self-care? Do you spend it on time with your spouse, if that's even applicable in that moment? Like, what do you spend it on? So
I mean,
yeah,
that
what do
was
you
kind of what
think?
I was. I mean, that was kind of the point when you were talking about like, oh, I take advantage of every like little opportunity. I mean,
Hmm.
sometimes taking advantage of that opportunity is giving yourself a little bit of a mental break. So I mean, yeah, maybe you aren't doing something, but you like if you got 20 minutes, you're like, okay,
Hmm.
I got 20 minutes to just kind of reset a little bit,
Yep.
just mentally kind of reset and not have to think about something or whatever it is. So, or you're like, shoot, I gotta do the laundry, I gotta start a load or something like that, or try to flip
Yeah.
some or whatever it is. But I mean, for me, I agree with you that prior to having kids or a kid, um, that I mean, I wasn't going to school, I wasn't going to college and doing all that
Hmm.
stuff. So my version of I don't have time was definitely a lot worse. I mean, I had full time job, I was married, but
Hmm.
like it wasn't like we were constantly going out and doing stuff and. Didn't have time, but like I'm a big nerd. All I did was just like really just play a lot of games and hang out with my wife and watch stuff and
Hmm.
go to work and my up and down journey of going to the gym. But realistically, I didn't have anything else crazy going on. I didn't really have any
Yeah.
like major side hobbies or
Hmm.
anything like that. So after having Sienna, I mean, yeah, like I thought I kind of knew what busy was at one point in my life, and it's insane. I mean, luckily I have a really good like I do have a really good friend group. Like when I mean I remember talking to my buddies about it prior to me having my daughter and like leading up to it, kind of like, hey
Hmm.
man, like you guys have had unlimited access to me essentially. Like you were able to just call me and say, hey man, let's play or let's do this or even just talk for an hour or two or whatever. Like all those kinds of like all those like very like small things. You could just do them whenever you wanted. And then now it's like those things are like few and far between. And so when I was kind of talking about it leading up to it, I was like, I don't think I even truly understand how much time I wouldn't have, but I obviously knew I was going to be super busy.
Yeah.
So I remember telling him like, hey man, like you guys aren't gonna like, we're not gonna be able to just hop on a game. I'm not gonna be able to just buy every new game and
Hmm.
for us to play. And we're not really gonna be like talking as much, but we've been friends for a long time, so we'll kind of fill in the gaps where we can. And if you truly
Hmm.
care about your relationships with people, like you'll find ways to make it work and make sure
Yeah,
that you
for
guys are
sure.
still talking and all that stuff. It definitely helps for us. Obviously we're doing this
Yeah.
podcast, but like when someone else is a parent as well, they
Hmm.
understand, you're
Yep.
kind of going through the same phase in life, and so it makes all those things easier,
Hmm.
because they're understanding. So there's no
Yep.
like, it sounds really bad to say, but there's no like, I guess I want to say like a guilt or anything like that when it comes to
Mm.
like, or making people feel bad, because like if the person
Because
that
we
doesn't
get
have a
it.
kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like yeah, it's like, oh, dude, like you're just talking, and it's like, oh, I gotta go. It's like, all right, cool, yeah. It's like, no, that
Yeah.
like normally if you didn't have a kid or something like that, I'd be like, dude, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
like why'd you just like randomly dip on me like that? But it's like with the kids, like you totally understand your call can
Yeah.
end like that, right?
Yep.
So stuff
Exactly.
like there's like small
The
things like that, but
time
like,
bomb ready to go off.
dude, yeah, I know. I mean, honestly, since Sienna's still so small, and like I think we've talked about it briefly too,
Hmm.
in one of our other podcasts, that my child deals with reflux, so
Yeah.
she's much more of a Velcro baby. She like when she's in
Hmm.
her wake windows, which she is getting, but she's much better now. She's actually getting a lot better. That was one of the other things I could talk about,
Hmm.
but she does demand a lot of our attention beyond just
Hmm.
like putting her down for naps and feeding her and all that,
Hmm.
and us just wanting to play with her beyond that. She's
Yeah.
like, if I'm not around you or in your arms or something like that, like I need your attention. So
Hmm.
yeah, so like it's just a lot to kind of like deal with that throughout the day. So it's like I don't think I
Hmm.
fully realized like what that was actually going to look like, or how much time that was actually going to take.
Yeah.
um so to circle back around, because I feel like I kind of doing what I normally do and I veer off a little bit. Or like I talk about something and then I'm like, oh yeah, let me go that, and then I go down that, and I'm like, oh yeah, let me go down that.
It's like, let's
um
circle back that plane around. No.
yeah, let's go back around for the people that are listening. uh yeah, so like comparing the difference between time of like before kid and
Hmm.
to now, like yeah, I mean my day is basically just filled with um she luckily my wife, she kind of does like the really like the early morning stuff, like because
Hmm.
she's already gonna have to be up anyway. So normally she does like the I'll get up. Typically, I'm the one that I get up, and then I usually get the bottle ready, and then
Hmm.
like I'll turn the heaters on, because like it's been colder. I know we live in California, but like
Yeah.
it's been colder in the morning for us, and so I kind of heat up the living room and the space
Hmm.
out there, and then I kind of like just turn on some ambient noise, some calming sort of noise. And then yeah,
Hmm.
I kind of do like our morning like prep stuff like that. And then my wife comes out with her, change her diaper, and then she comes out,
Yeah.
eats, and just has like a calm sort of morning. But
Hmm.
I mean, in between that, throughout my day, it's like I'm filling it with as much of like it's mostly chores and stuff like that. Yesterday I was able to take advantage of some errands. I had a bunch of errands that were had kind of piled up. So if
Hmm.
I had like an hour. My mother-in-law came over to visit Sienna,
Hmm.
so my wife was like, okay, well, she's gonna be over. It was her lunchtime, so she was like, hey, well, you gotta go do all this stuff. So you kind of fill whatever little open spots that
Hmm.
you have to like, okay, well, I got all these errands I gotta run. So, let me go and do those things. Otherwise, those things are just
Hmm.
it's not gonna happen. I can't do it until
Yeah.
my wife's off work at the very least. And even then, that's like 5 o'clock, and the places that I had to go to are probably closed by then.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and I
Yeah.
feel like I'm
The
like at a point where I want to like protect the weekends as much as I can to
Yeah.
like not have to do as much of that stuff. I like to just be able
Hmm.
to, hang out and enjoy each other. So,
For sure. Yeah. I think of my daily management, like how do I manage it like day by day, like it's so obviously it's a bit different for me because like there are moments when CC is just fine playing by herself, right? And it's funny, like when she is fine playing by herself, we have like, and I think I mentioned this in a previous podcast, like we have a space that's like designed to be like she can fully explore and be 100% safe. Like there's nothing that she can choke on. There's nothing. I mean, yeah, she might pull herself up and fall down a little bit, and she might bump her head and then cry, but like nothing that will be actually dangerous for her.
mhm.
And so in those moments, that's when like you just keep your ears open and you do like little things, and you it's kind of weird, like you almost develop this sonar like
Yeah.
ability. It's like you know exactly where your kid is at all times without even having eyes on her, because your ears are just completely like assessing her location because she makes noise when she crawls. There are certain toys that are in different spots, so I know exactly where she is. I know like sounds that she makes when she touches something that, oh, like if she were to open that, then it might be a little more like we don't really want that, and it's something that I can tell like when she starts crawling off to her bedroom, that's when I do have to go follow her. And so
Sure.
like stuff like that. And so usually what happens is when she's in a hey, I'm ready to solo play, um I will then do stuff like I'll do stuff in the kitchen. I'll clean whatever that I can. I also have like a thing where when she eats breakfast in the morning, because typically we run the dishwasher at night, I will set her in the high chair and I'll give her food. Then as she's eating, I am doing the dishwasher stuff,
Mhm.
and so that way I'm like always like multitasking, but also not multitasking. It's like I'm taking advantage of every little piece of like where my hands are free, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, it's just kind of funny. It's like you just kind of learn how to take advantage of those pieces, and at the same time, like when she is down for naps, because she's been taking like only hour naps instead of like the 2 hour naps that she had been in the past. um then that's like time that I basically have to choose. Do I do a chore or do I
Mhm.
rest? And the piece that I think I tend to lean into a lot is where am I at mentally? Like, do I just need that rest? Like sometimes I will literally go into like she'll go down, I'll literally take the monitor with me, I'll set it, and I will take a 20-minute like hot like I call it a shower bath because I basically it just so that way I can just like mentally reset. And it's just a matter of these like little moments that you find to reset, to do self-care, and then just accepting that like certain things just go out the window a lot. Like I've actually had to do a lot of work recently in transitioning to a new clinic, um uh and so I've had to like create a lot of forms, look at how I want my documentation to look. So
Mhm.
all of the nap times have been spent doing that, and
Yeah.
so that means that other chores don't get done, so therefore I now have to find those things like like a breakfast, lunch, or dinner eating time to do certain things, or like solo play. It's just weird. Like you just have to find time. Like literally, you have to take your magnifying glass. You have to look at all the different things and find it.
Yeah, one of the things I was gonna say earlier is that you were talking about like a sonar or whatever it was. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say sometimes it gets like too good that you like almost hear like phantom sounds. Like sometimes like there's like
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I hear her crying, and
Yep.
you're like listening, and you're like, oh, she's not
Oh,
crying.
happens all
You're
the
like they
time.
weren't.
It's the
They're just
worst.
like phantom stuff like that. You're like, what the? You're like, you're just starting
Yeah.
hearing stuff. It feels like.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I think I was gonna say too that I mean, it almost feels like your day becomes like you're really just kind of like constantly like planning out sort of like what your day as the day goes on. You're kind of like, okay,
Hmm.
for right now, Sienna, she's like CC is more on like an actual like schedule. I know that you said she's like maybe not sleeping as long, but you have
Hmm.
like an idea of like, okay, I'm going to put her down at like 8 o'clock in the
Yep.
morning or 8:30 in the morning, and she's going to
Hmm.
sleep usually at least till like right now maybe it's 9:30, and maybe not that 2 hour, right? It's not from 8:30 to
Yeah.
10:30 now. It's just 8:30.
Yeah.
But regardless, you know, like this is the time that she's going to go down. Okay, I had this time, I can block that out. For
Yeah.
Sienna, it's more of like I know that we want her to be up for at least about an hour and a half for her wake
Hmm.
windows. So depending on what time she wakes up, which is not always the same exact time, it's close, but it's not always the same
Hmm.
time, which usually means that she's probably like if she wakes up at 7:30, that means that we're going to try to put her down for a nap around 9 a.m., 9:15. It's going to be somewhere in there. And then we
Hmm.
usually like her with her sleep training, obviously that kind of blows those things up a little bit because
Yeah.
it's not a guarantee that I'm going to be able to get her to just go down right away by putting her in her
Hmm.
crib. And then, she does basically what she does now. If she does, if I do, when I put her down when I'm sleep training with her, she'll sleep for like 27 minutes. Like that's the time that she'll sleep. She doesn't sleep
Mm.
much longer than that in the crib. But that's pretty much what they expect, especially early days when they're still training. Like they're like, yep, 30, 40 minutes. Like that's pretty
Hmm.
solid. Like that's a good kind of common time that you would expect for them to kind of sleep.
Hmm.
While they're training and stuff like that, they're getting used to everything. So she's like pretty close to that. She's about like the 30 minute mark.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so like I mean, obviously that blows things up, but like normally, I would have her sleep for like an hour,
Yeah.
hour and a half tops is usually about what it is. I like to get like 2 hour and a half naps in the day, and then
Hmm.
the other two, because I think we're kind of down to like 4 naps a day instead of 5. We're kind of like pretty much at 4 naps a day now for her.
Hmm.
Um, I like to have two of them be about an hour and a half, so that's like her
Hmm.
big chunk of time, and then the other two can be
Yeah.
like 40 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. So we kind of put her in that 4 to 5 hour nap time range, and that seems to
Hmm.
work out really well for bedtime. Um, so yeah, but right now with sleep training, it's like using yesterday for an example, it was like her first nap. I got her to go down like immediately, but she slept for like 27, 30 minutes. So that was a 30-minute nap, and
Hmm.
I just woke her up. And then the
Hmm.
second one, I put her down. She went down right away. She slept for another 27 minutes, 30 minutes, or 35, whatever. So those are
Hmm.
two really small naps. So the third one, I was already planning ahead. Like
Yep.
that one, I'm gonna rescue the nap. I'm gonna attempt to put her down.
Yep.
And then if she doesn't go down, after, because like they basically limit it to 4 times. Like you don't really want to go past that. You only want to pick them about 4 times. And if they
Hmm.
don't seem to be going to sleep on their own, then you
Hmm.
basically rescue the nap by getting them to sleep, like contact napping the rest of the time. So
Hmm.
that's basically what I did for the third nap, so that I could
Hmm.
guarantee that she would get about an hour and a half, which she ended up sleeping actually 2 hours. I had her in my arms for about an hour, hour and 15, and then I laid
Hmm.
her in her crib because I was like, that's about time for her to wake up. She's been sleeping for about an hour and a half. And I just laid her in her crib, and then she stayed asleep. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to let her go
Yeah.
for a little bit longer, and she hits the 2 hour mark, I'll wake her up. And sure enough, she did.
Hmm.
So she finished her nap for like 15, 20 minutes at the crib.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, which is great. Seeing her doing that stuff and being consistent about it is
Yeah.
great. So,
Killing it,
I mean,
Dad. Killing it.
yeah, I know. I was so proud. Um, but yeah, so kind of what I was trying to say though is like right now with sleep training, it's kind of blown
Hmm.
up sort of the consistency of my scheduling. But like I am very much a person, like I try to plan out as much as I can as far as like, okay, when I wake up, I have things that I do when I wake up. I'm super anal about like having the bottles like cleaned and like prepped, like if, because we have the baby Brezza, which is the bottle cleaner.
Yeah.
It only fits 4 at a time. I wish, dude, I'm like, is there a baby Brezza that can fit like 20 of those things in at the same like once, so I'm not running like 4 loads a day.
Yeah. So
um
this is what's nice is once your kid gets old enough, you can just literally use your dishwasher. That is like it is
I
a
know
lovely
it's the
transition.
sanitizing that's like the biggest thing when they're so small.
Yep.
um
So,
So yeah, so I run those for every load. So I fill up like,
mhm.
I make sure they're all as clean, and then basically if there's like 2 dirty bottles, I prep I empty the water out of it. I get the new water prepped in. I put the little wash tablet in there. I put the
Yep.
bottles in the parts that are available, and I have it prepped so it's ready to go. So all we have to
Yep.
do is just rinse them off, put it in there, and then put the lid on. So like I'm super anal about that. Like I'm always
Yep.
constantly filling that thing up. And then usually I'm like I'll check and see if there's like dishes or something that need to be done.
Hmm.
But yeah, so and then like once I kind of have a rough idea, I know when she's going to kind of go down for a nap.
Hmm.
Then I'm usually kind of like, okay, well, I didn't get this thing done, so the
Hmm.
next window is kind of when I'll do that next thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And kind of like you said before too, sometimes you get to that next nap or the next window, and you're like,
Hmm.
I'm kind of just feeling like, maybe that nap for like in our case it's 3 contact naps sometimes
Hmm.
now. Maybe it was rough. Maybe she struggled for a while and all those things. And
Hmm.
so you get to that next wake window after she, has finally gotten her nap in. You're kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of tired. So maybe you take that window to kind of just,
Hmm.
chill out a little bit. Maybe you're not doing as much. Spending, for in my case, I'm usually having to play with the baby and stuff like that, but you're not doing all
Hmm.
the other stuff, and then you just kind of push to the next window. So that's kind of like, I guess, how I kind of navigate my days. Is it's
Hmm.
an ever changing thing, but I'm always like, it is kind of exhausting mentally because you are really like trying to think
Constantly
ahead of
shifting.
everything. Yeah. And then, if my
Yep.
wife comes out, she's like, oh, food, like what's going on with food? And I'm like, so then we have to decide who's making food. Like, is it her or me?
Oh.
All those kinds of things. Do we, what are we going to do for that? Sometimes a lot of time I'm like, I'm making a sandwich for me. And she's like, all
Yeah.
right, cool. I'm going to do my own thing. Or she'll make me food. Like she'll come out and
Hmm.
make me some stuff or whatever. But yeah, so like those kind of things will pop in. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
like by the time you get to the end of the day, it's like you just spent so
You're
much. I think a couple of
spent.
days ago, I spent like 13 hours like dealing with baby, doing
Yeah.
chores, dealing with baby, doing chores like all day, dude. I got
Hmm.
to like, it was like from 6:30 in the morning till like 8:30 at night, and by the time I was
Yeah.
done and she was in bed and I was just sitting down on the couch, I was like, I
Hmm.
just felt like a zombie at that point. I was like, oh, geez. Like my
No,
brain was just constantly going.
it's so fair. Yeah, and I think like when it comes to that balance, man, like I think that's the thing that sometimes my wife and I struggle with because especially since I work in the evenings, right? Like some days I don't have any clients, but some days I cap it just two clients in the evening because that's 2 hours worth, and so that'd be like 5:30 and 6:30 Central. And so, but that means that I'm gone between 5:30 and 7:30, right? And so we literally have 7:30 to 8:30 together because typically 8:30 is when we start transitioning to go to bed. Sometimes we'll push it to 9:30, but that's kind of like where our minds go. And so like we literally just like have to decide, okay, what is this time? Is this like solo time for both of us to decompress from whatever? Is this time we're gonna watch a movie together? Is this time that we're gonna play a card game together? Like, what are we doing, right?
Hey, at least you
And
have that option right now. Like my wife and
yeah,
I, like we're like we kind of think we're kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel because she is getting better about being in her bassinet sometimes at night
yeah,
or like for her naps. So like we're kind of like, oh, maybe we can actually have some time to hang out. But it's a
yeah,
good
that's
problem to have. At
rough.
least right now, you guys are, are able to be like, hey, can we spend some time together? What are we gonna do?
I know, right? And so, and we get about an hour per day, and obviously we have some time from when she gets home from work, but usually at that time, and we are trying to get better at going for walks every single time that she gets home. What the thing with the meal prepping the food, and one of the biggest reasons for that is so it kind of releases my task of having to make dinner.
Yeah,
For when she gets home, and then between and like sometimes I get to eat, sometimes I don't get to eat. From
you got to eat
transitioning
while
from
you do it,
making.
dude. That's what my wife does.
Yeah.
She is like, that's why they're always like, she's always full by the time she gives me the food. If she's
Oh,
making the
that's
food,
funny.
she just eats
Yeah,
while she does it, like sporadically. And so, yeah, by the
that's
time
funny.
she
Yeah.
actually is done with the meal and gives me my plate, she's like, I'm full. And I'm like, you ate? She's like, yeah, I was eating the whole time. I was like, what? That's what you got to
That's
get good at,
funny.
man. If you're cooking, we just got
Yeah.
to get better at eating while you're cooking.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah. So like literally like yeah. That's the biggest reason. And then we're gonna try to go on walks and still so that it'll kind of free up some time during that time. And also us cooking together will also be something fun for us to do.
Yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
like literally like that's what we have to do. We have to tie in these tasks, these chores, these like random things that you wouldn't think of. Like, oh, this is quality time. It's like, well, you have to make it quality time because there
Yeah.
is no other time. Like
It's definitely a
we have
mindset change. Like it's
yeah, we
definitely you're
have one
framing
thousand
things.
exactly. We have 1,440 minutes in every single day, right? And it's like, how do we
Someone
spend
math
those
check them.
minutes?
Someone fact check them real quick.
You
Is
can
that
go
correct?
ahead and fact check me all you want. It's one thousand
I
four
don't I
hundred
don't
and
know off the top
forty.
of my head, so I'm just someone else can do it, dude.
uh, but yeah, so like that's kind of where our minds have gone is just trying to genuinely balance like how do you how do you make that space, right?
Yeah.
And if you get 8 hours of sleep, that's 480 minutes of sleeping. So it's
Dude.
like, you know,
It's so early on, especially. I mean, we haven't even gotten to like toddler phase, and
I
obviously those
know.
come with their own challenges and stuff like that that we aren't even aware of. We don't even
Yep.
know like what that's going to look like yet. I'm sure that's a whole other level
Oh
of
yeah.
craziness, But right now, it's just
It's
it just
exhausting.
it demands so much of your time that yeah, like you were saying, you really do have to like frame things and you have to like really
Yeah.
put a different perspective on how you view things. Like, what do you deem like quality time?
Yeah. And yeah, sorry
No, yeah.
to interrupt you, but you said something that was really important is that you have to change your perspective. You have to have that flexibility. Like, because
Mhm.
again, like it's so, especially early on, like I liked things a little more structured. And so whenever like Cece would lose that, like get out of that structure, like I'd be like, oh, that's so annoying, right? And then you just kind of learn, like, why am I getting annoyed? Like, she's a child, like, she
Mhm.
is an infant. And so you literally have to change your perspective. You have to you have to really engage in that cognitive flexibility, if you want to use the fun word
Well, I
for it.
mean, yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
doctor. I appreciate your official sort of stance on it, but uh, I think it's also. I mean, it's you're changing your perspective not only for your like child's sake and your schedule and how you
Hmm.
do those things, but like I mean, from your if you have if you're married or you're in a relationship or whatever, your partner, um, how you view those things because like I mean for us my wife and I like since Sienna is so demanding of our time like we joke about it because it is like a
Hmm.
thing that happens in relationships. You call yourselves like roommates because that or those
Yeah.
early days, you're not spending time together. You're basically handing off who's watching the baby, who's doing this, and you're just kind of passing each other. You're not spending really time together.
Hmm.
Other than those few moments of like, oh, we're both playing with the baby right now, haha, this is great. But like actually spending, quality time together, like that kind of goes out the window. And unless you're fortunate
Hmm.
enough, I know that you guys have had a different experience, and you
Yeah.
guys were able to do some of the sleep training earlier on, and then get her kind of on a schedule, so it felt like you guys had some windows. And
Hmm.
I'm literally, I mean, you're literally saying you have an hour of time. I'm like, my wife and I literally don't even have that. So like you saying
Yeah.
you have an hour of time, I'm like, that sounds great right now for my wife and
Yeah.
I to have. Like, we had like 15 minutes last night. My wife decided to put Sienna down on her bassinet while she was already asleep. She
Hmm.
transferred her to the bassinet so that she could come out and make like a piece of toast. And
Hmm.
luckily she didn't like wake up right away. She slept for like
Hmm.
15 minutes. And so my wife came out, was eating toast, and I had something up on YouTube, and we were just
Yeah.
hanging out on the couch for like 15 minutes just talking and watching the video.
Oh,
And then
I love that.
she woke up and then she had to go back to the bed. So
Yeah.
like those are like those random little moments that we have to sort of like steal
Yeah.
for ourselves, but like that's not like genuine quality time.
Hmm.
And I'm sure people are out there like, just get your family members to watch it and stuff like that.
It's
You're
not that
right. Like
easy.
it's not that easy, but I mean, we could do that, but like maybe this is just like on us, but like I have such a problem with, because like the way I view it is like it's not like I'm not worried about my relationship. Like I don't think that like we're in like jeopardy, like we're falling out of love. Like I think
Hmm.
we understand that we knew what we were getting into having a child. We knew that our time
Hmm.
together was not going to be the same, obviously. So I
Yeah.
don't think I'm like falling out of love with my wife, but I just miss being able to spend genuine time with her and like having time for
Yeah.
us. And so you could feel sad for that. But when it
Hmm.
comes to like asking for help, which is I know our family, we have a great, I have my in-laws are amazing. Like they're
Hmm.
always willing to help. They would be over here every day if they could.
Oh.
But like I have such a problem with like, and again, this may feel like I'm taking a shot at people, but I don't like just handing off my child to someone for the sake of doing it. Like I want it to be for something. Like if I'm like, okay, like
Mm.
my wife and I are, there's like some sort of like important visit, like we have a doctor's appointment or something like that's really important that we like have to go to or something like that, and we can't take her for whatever reason. Okay, there's something like that, like something like I would like deem legitimate. If it's like literally we're both home and we're not,
Hmm.
indisposed or anything like that, like why do I need to just send my child to someone else's house or like, drop them off somewhere? Like it feels weird to me. But I feel like a lot of people out there, whoever, anybody that tunes
Hmm.
in, you're probably going to tell me I'm a little crazy. You're probably going to be like, no, but the whole point is that you're taking advantage of your support system, which a lot of
Hmm.
people, they say that you should do to keep some of your sanity. Take advantage of your support system and ask them like, hey man, my wife and I, we know we need a couple hours. We did do a date night early on. Like we went and saw
Hmm.
like a movie or something like that. So I asked my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, and they watched her for like 3 hours. Cause I think we went and saw Avatar, and it was like,
Okay,
three,
nice.
3 hour, half hour long
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah.
So they watched her for like 3.5, 4 hours. And like, we
That's
felt
awesome.
bad doing that. You know what I mean? So it's
Mm.
hard, and it's probably just an us problem for the most part, but like, I find it really hard to just,
Yeah.
be like, yeah, just watch my kid just because kind of thing versus it being like a necessity kind of thing.
What's the what is the difference between the necessity of taking care of yourself and necessity of taking care of your child?
Um, well, I think that's why I'm saying it's like more of a me or us problem, right?
Yeah.
Because like I don't deem like that like me taking care of myself as a necessity versus like making sure that we're
Mm.
taking care of our child. So
Yeah. I will my clinical psychologist self wants to ask follow-up questions. I shall not do that.
no, that's, I mean, this is supposed to be a conversation. You could just frame it like it's not an official like I'm paying you to,
No, of course you're not. No, I mean, I guess where my mind goes is that like it's so easy to think that our time and energy don't matter. And I think what ends up happening for a lot of people, and I fall into this trap all the time, is that we don't realize that in order for us to be at peak efficiency and ability and mindset to take care of our kiddo, right?
mm,
We have to have that energy, right? Like, because like our lives are basically made of a bunch of sliders, right? We have like physical health, we have mental health, we have social health, we have spiritual slash meaning and purpose health, right? So, like, if any of those sliders get zeroed out, all the other sliders come with it a little bit, right?
Mm,
And so because they can't compensate for literally the entire domain being purely neglected. And so like what can happen is that if we have like some people just don't have the space or the ability to to get support to bump up that slider. But if you zero out that slider, dude, like your ability to be present, to be kind of in a good mindset is going to eventually be impacted. And
mm,
so it's one of those like things to say like, oh, like if we spend no time for ourselves and we spend all of our time taking care of our kid, well, eventually our ability to take care of our kid will be inherently impacted because we're neglecting other incredibly important parts of our life.
yeah. No, I think I mean you're absolutely right on that front. I appreciate your breakdown of that. Uh, I was kind of listening to you talk, and I was thinking about it. I was like, man, this is like because the way that you're framing it was a good way that you framed everything that you were sort of talking about, and I was like, oh, that's really.
Mhm.
So I was imagining people that are kind of like listening and stuff like that, probably thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Uh, I think also partially too because I mean this is like an honest conversation between us two, and some
Hmm.
people like listening or watching or whatever like I mean, I was kind of having that self realization as we're like talking, literally. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is probably just a me problem. But like as I'm saying things out loud, I'm like, yeah, probably. It sounds like I'm just making
Mhm.
excuses. But at the same time, like that's the whole kind of like the whole point of this podcast is like we wanted it to be as authentic as possible. And
Mhm.
I don't like I want to come on to I wanted us to do this podcast and come in with facts and some of the data
Mhm.
and stuff that supports a lot of things too, because I think it's good for people to have some perspective and insight into some of those things. And I find those
Mhm.
things, depending on what the topic is, if I'm interested, like having some of
Yeah.
that data can be really interesting. And so I think that's
Mhm.
great. But I think a lot of time too, some podcast, I'm not going to say all of them. It's not like I watch all of them out there, but I think there are a lot of podcasts in general that can kind of, when you're talking about stuff like this, they approach it from like a this is what you should be doing kind of mindset that they don't really take into account what reality ends up being for a lot of people. And so I think with us
Mhm.
talking about it, like even for my situation and my wife and I, like
Mhm.
you have people like us that are so stubborn and like it's so hard for us to like accept help
Yeah.
as much as we want, as much as like we know we need it, we just unless there's like some sort of crisis or emergency, we're like, no, we'll kind of deal with it. We'll figure it out or whatever, even at the detriment
Mhm.
of our, mental health or whatever, physical
Yeah.
health, even sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we're like dying or anything like that, guys,
No,
but
definitely not.
it's just one of those things where like, even like as we go back, we're talking about like those pockets of time. Like I notice a huge difference in my mental state if maybe if Sienna's having a rough day and I've had to spend a majority of the day with her and she's
Mhm.
just giving me a rough time all day, it wears on you eventually. So your patience starts to wear it's very thin at that point. And
Mhm.
as soon as my wife is able to come out and, or she's whatever she's doing, if she's able to come relieve, and take 20 minutes away or 30 minutes away, me just
Mhm.
literally just getting that time away, the difference in my mental state is huge. So
Yeah.
I definitely believe that, like, what you're saying is like us taking that time and saying, hey, you know, grandma or auntie and uncle or whatever, can you,
Mhm.
watch the baby? Some, Ange and I have some time to just, spend time together and stuff like that. I could totally believe because then you go do that and you come back to the baby. You absence makes the heart grow fonder. You're away from your child,
Mhm.
and then you can't wait to get back to them. Which it's like the funny thing.
Yeah.
You can be so stressed, and
Mhm.
you can have it feel so overloaded, and then the moment you're away from your child, you're like, oh, I miss them.
Mhm.
I want to see them. So it's funny how that works, right? Like it's this
Mhm.
thing that you can just be like so stressed about, but like you love your child so much that like even when you're away
Mhm.
from them, you miss them instantly. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's such a weird thing, but yeah, no, I totally believe that like it's something important that we do need to prioritize, but yeah, I
It's
don't know. We'll
hard.
see.
Like cuz
We'll see.
because in the moment it doesn't feel important, right? Because in the moment you're like, yeah, I can take this. I can take this beating. You know what? In the moment you absolutely can take that beating, right?
Yeah.
Like And I think what ends up happening is we just don't end up making space to recover from that beating.
Mm,
And so it makes sense, right? And it's like it's a very common thing to neglect one's own health and self for the protection and safety and love of those you care about, specifically your kiddos. And so
mm,
it's not weird, right?
yeah.
And the main question is it working for you or is it not working for you? And that's really the main question, right? Like,
Mm.
are your sliders getting blasted or are you able to compensate enough to where you're able to still maintain some type of equilibrium? There you go. Now, that disclaimer in the beginning of our podcast fully makes sense.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but
Yeah.
anyway, all that to say is, obviously, like, yeah, you are you are killing it, man.
So are you, man. You're doing great. Hey, and those of you other parents out there, you are also killing it. Okay.
Yes, 100%.
Everybody's doing great. You're doing the best that you can. As far as I know, we're probably getting pretty close to being done here. But
Hmm.
as far as tools for me, I mean, again, it's one of the things we brought up. I don't like have an official tool. I wouldn't say I have anything for myself as far as like time management. I probably should invest in something maybe that I could use, but time management for my daughter. My wife and I heavily use the Huckleberry app. It's been a really, really great app that,
Hmm.
especially early on when you have like infants and newborns and stuff like that. It's a
Hmm.
pretty sweet app. We pay for like the little sweet spot thing. It's not crazy expensive, but we pay for that.
Hmm.
It basically helps. It'll basically automatically as we're entering in information daily and
Hmm.
weekly, it will take that information and it'll kind of build out a sleep schedule for you a little bit. Not like an official schedule, but it'll be like, hey, your child's probably going to be tired around this time, and it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we follow. Like that's a rough like if it says, hey, she's probably going to want to go down at like 9 a.m. Usually about 9:15 is when we look to have her go down for a nap,
Hmm.
and that ends up working out. Usually, that's usually like it ends up being pretty solid. So we
Hmm.
also track like her bottles, how much, how many
Hmm.
times, when we change her diaper, what medicines she's taking, the growth. Like it has a bunch of
Yeah,
different things. So
that's
it's
huge.
not really it's not like a tool for us or for me. So I
Yeah.
apologize if you're looking for a tool for like your own actual time management.
Yeah.
Um, but it is something that is real. It is
Hmm.
in the sphere or realm of time management, and it's for our daughter. So that way we keep
Hmm.
track of all information and it spits a bunch of data back at us so we can kind of see averages and
Hmm.
all those kinds of things. So
Yeah.
that's been really nice for
Yeah.
us.
Really, sadly, one of the best time management tools that you can ever utilize and engage in is very good diet and daily exercise. That's
Yeah.
sadly the thing because your brain becomes more efficient and you are able to do things more efficiently. You have the energy and able to in order to engage in those things.
Yeah.
So,
And I think to wrap this up a little bit too, I think like we mentioned earlier, like I think one of the things that you can probably do early on is trying to change your perspective on how you view the free time that you do have, especially if
yep.
you again like if you're married, you have a partner, whatever it is,
Hmm.
how you frame that your time together and taking advantage of those small pockets if you have any to spend time together and do whatever, whether it's making dinner or
Hmm.
hanging out on the couch or I don't know, folding laundry, like taking advantage of this time and being change your perspective and being like, this is our time that we kind of get to spend together right now. And knowing that it will get better, right? Like,
Yeah.
like we keep saying, like, over time, it will get better. You will get the time to, spend together.
Hmm.
If you're unfortunate, in my wife's circumstances where our child's a lot more, she's a Velcro and she's got reflux, so she's a lot more demanding. Or if you're
Yep.
in Britain's case where she didn't have those issues, and so maybe
Yeah.
she's a little bit more flexible, but they're still
Hmm.
busy because people work, and it's still a lot of work to watch a child, regardless of
It
reflux
is.
and all those things. It just adds a little bit of spice on top of that. So
Spice.
we're
Yes,
all we're all doing our best out here, but
absolutely. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and follow along as we continue to talk about these things that we're dealing with and also just authentic conversations about how we manage everything baby, you know? And
yeah.
so,
Please feel
um,
please feel free to leave any comments if there's like tools that
mhm,
you guys like to use, like if there's actual like legitimate tools that you guys use
mhm,
to manage any sort of time. If you guys have anything that you guys, that you do throughout your day while you're, if you're still kind of in the thick of it watching kids or children or whatever, what do you use to help kind of manage your schedule throughout your days and weeks and stuff like that? Or how do you manage, balancing, time with your partner, stuff like that? I'd be really interested in kind of having other people's perspectives. So please feel free to leave a comment and yeah, let us know.
Awesome. Well, until next time, I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your week and whenever we're out here again.
Thank you, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
That was a delayed bye.